How's it going? It's LBB Yugioh, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the Yu-Gi-Oh news that you don't hear about too much on the big screen. I'm talking about domain format. Much like Magic's Commander format, this is basically a 4-player free-for-all with a minimum of 60 cards singleton format, and the best part is, no ban list. So what's the catch? How come there isn't a ban list? Well, that's because you have to follow the rules of your deck master. And what a deck master is you know your spell and trap card zones? The deck master would be placed behind your spell and trap card zones. So how does the deck master play a huge part in the game? Well, your deck has to follow these guidelines. Your monsters have to be the archetype, type, and attribute of your monster. So let's say, for example, your deck master was Ariana the Labyrinth Servant. You would have to follow Darks, so you would have access to all Dark monsters. Fiend, so you could use the Fiend type. And then the archetype itself, Labyrinth. You could play all Labyrinth cards, even if they weren't Fiends or Darks. But let's say you were playing a card like Prodigal Magician. This card in its description lists Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician, which means you'd have access to both of those archetypes. One of my friends that actually play Domain play Invoked Asylum, which gives them access to all the attributes, so they can pretty much play whatever deck they want as long as it follows the type guidelines. Now, to summon out your deck master, you have to do it the same ways that you would in TCG. As for like a level 4 deck master, you could just simply normal summon it. But for something like a Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, you would have to banish a light and a dark in order to special summon him. Whereas to also Machina Fortress, you would have to send monsters level 4 to 8 from your hand to the graveyard to special him from your deck master zone. But let's actually talk about how the game actually goes. So to decide who goes first, we usually roll a dice, or if it's your first time playing domain format, we usually just let you go first so you can get a taste of how it is. Yu-Gi-Oh took away the drawing for first turn because decks got so powerful, but in domain format, you're allowed to draw on your first turn. As the turns rotate, nobody is allowed to attack until it gets to the last player, and then he is free to attack whoever he wants. The most exciting part about Domain is politics, so you can kind of stir up some trouble when you're playing in a 4v4 free-for-all. Let's say you know your friend is building a really great board. You could cause a lot of problems by just going, hey man, that board that he's building looks pretty overpowered. I think we should really do something about him and get him out of this domain. This would help you revert some attention off of you and towards the other player that you're trying to get out of the game. The one that you see is your threat, of course. So the more players that you play against and the different decks that you go up against and all the different politics that are involved, you're always going to have a different experience. But like, what if somebody's deck is stronger than yours, or they're playing newer decks compared to your old decks? Well, this is kind of where the gentleman's agreement comes in. It's where you all come together and decide what deck you're going to play and what power levels those decks are. That way your matches aren't really too lopsided. My experience with the game so far, it's a lot of fun, especially since I'm a Labyrinth player. Like, I'm just setting all these back row and they're trying to fight me and I'm fighting 3 people at once because I am not a force to be reckoned with in the domain game. But my weakness falls on politics. I'm not very talkative when it comes to politics, so I think that's where I fall short in the domain game itself. All in all though, it's a fun experience and I still play it here from time to time as well. I'll actually be posting more domain videos shortly. If you kind of want to see how Domain usually goes, you can check out my other 2 videos on my YouTube. I'll leave all their information to their Discord and their YouTube profiles down below. Popular content creators that have played this game are Team APS and Joshua Schmidt. They're really popular, renowned Yu-Gi-Oh players, and it's pretty cool to know that they've been involved in something like this. And that's the general basics of domain format. I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope I gave you as much information as I possibly could. But make sure you like that video and you leave a comment down below and tell me some of your experience with domain format.